Welcome to the Rain Sessions podcast, powered by swingjuice.com. I hope you enjoy it, and if you like it, please subscribe.
Doing well.
It's a good thing you weren't recording before we started recording, because we were, messing with the light. I had that light on, and I wouldn't turn it off. He's like, makes no difference. I'm like, what do you mean makes no difference? And I turned it back on and turned it off. He's like,
You had to make an adjustment, hey.
And then we're looking at ourselves. I'm like, are you going to be that short? He's like, are you going to be that tall? So anyway, we're great.
Pros pro.
In the IT department all through Zoom. She's been
COVID, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Director, lighting, producer, makeup. He doesn't have any on today.
The whole thing. I've been really pampered.
Well, you're a lucky man. You're a lucky man to have such a talented partner right next to you. So let's talk quickly about the U.S. Open. I mean, I thought it was absolutely fascinating. From a fan, obviously I'm a golf nut, but from a golf fan's perspective, and I felt this throughout the way the PGA Tour has presented tournaments. I actually love watching golf without the fans. I think you really get to see the course, which I find pretty enjoyable. But obviously the action on the course was phenomenal throughout the week.
Yeah, I'm with you. Listening to it on TV, watching it, you don't hear it seems like there's, if there's 100,000 people out there, there's only 5 idiots. They fight each other to see who could be the bigger idiot. It's every broadcast. You hear them yelling and screaming. So it's nice not to hear the mashed potatoes and the baba booies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. The USGA, they did this year. They had screens set up where they had fans who could tune in virtually,
right.
And we brought some players over throughout the week, and fans could log in and interact and actually ask some of the players questions. So there was still a fan experience, which was really nice. I think both the players and fans enjoyed that. Obviously, not being able to be on site, but
yeah.
Right, you did a great job with that. But the golf itself, who doesn't love to watch somebody prove everybody wrong?
Yeah.
To see somebody, Wednesday night, Bryson had posted several videos of what he thought he was going to do that week, and everybody was laughing at him and saying it wouldn't work. Good luck. I think I posted his swing on Wednesday night, and I if I had 100 retorts to that, 99 of them were, he'll have the weekend off. What an idiot. What's he think this is?
Yeah.
This isn't the desert. So to see him play the kind of golf that he played, I thought it was captivating. I thought it was one of the more exciting majors that I've been a part of since I started covering TV. Obviously, every one that Tiger won, I think, took center stage. But this was, amongst every other major championship, I thought this was one of the more compelling.
Now, do you find that, and I've kind of thought this, and I've heard this, sort of the post-analysis, that his performance and how he's approached the game over the last year is going to have a monumental shift on how people, professionals and amateurs alike, approach playing the game of golf. Do you guys feel the same way?
Definitely. If you're playing professional golf right now, or if you're embarking on a career, if you're not thinking of ways to recruit more power and to swing more powerfully. It used to be like you either had it or you didn't. People who were long, like John Daly or Tiger Woods or Bubba Watson or Dustin Johnson, they were just dismissed out of hand as freaks, as freakish athletes. They were just born with that, blah, blah, blah. And here comes Bryson, who has a definitive before and after, and he was not Dustin Johnson or Tiger or Bubba Watson. He wasn't in that class. And to see him graduate to this beast on a golf course,
yeah,
and how he did it. So it's like he's unlocked the keys to power. And so if you're not tapping into that, even yesterday in Tiger's opening, the
on the
range at Paynes Valley, he and Justin Thomas were messing around with Bryson's move, lifting the lead heel, trying to get a bigger turn. They're curious, and I think that's what Bryson's victory meant to the game. It's going to change not only the way people pair or approach the game, but also the way they play it, just from a mathematical calculation as to when they should hit driver and when they shouldn't.
And even amateurs, to your point, John. I've never been a long hitter, but I want to change my swing now. I want his help because I'm only going to get older, obviously, and weaker. So now is my last best chance
Right.
to hit it far. And I never have been a long hitter, so I want to try. I have a tournament coming up with my mom in a week, so I'm going to wait till after that. But we're going to spend, whether he knows it or not, all winter. I want more distance.
She's cracking me up. She's in our living room over here saying, "How do I maintain lag in my transit?
No, the other day,
why am I casting?"
He was busy, and so I YouTubed videos to put it farther, and he overheard. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you listening to?" And I was like, "Well, I want to hit it farther." And he's like, "Hello, I'm right here. Like, why are you tuning in?" And then he watched the video. He's like, "Don't watch that. Like, no, that's not at all what it is."
So I'm assuming a new weight set is coming to your house. You know, pallets of protein shakes. You know, biomechanics books. Like, all that stuff is on its way.
A little muscle there.
Those are rookie numbers. We're gonna pump those up a little bit.
So I'm going to be busy as an amateur, getting more distance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really is unbelievable. And I think, too, like, when you look at, you know, obviously, you know, from a Golf Channel perspective, you know, the long drive competition, you know, I feel like some of those guys feel validated. Like, they look like, you know, circus freaks, but Bryson even said it. He took something from that. And I wonder if it takes, like, a certain person or a mindset to say, that's something that I could potentially put into my game, but then you have to put the work in and actually try to execute it.
Yeah, but you know, I've said it forever. It's like the long drive guys, they're like lie detectors. They're human lie detectors. You know, as you hear all this instruction stuff, and it's like, well, if it actually did make you hit the ball longer, then the long drive guys would be doing it.
Right.
And they do zero of the stuff that's been in magazines for the last ever. They take it slow back. You can't take it back too slow. I mean, look, it worked for Jack. He won 18 major championships, but you know, Jack was blessed with a Bryson DeChambeau body. I think Bryson tried to have Jack Nicklaus's body, and he's done it. But in terms of hitting the ball farther, he watched the long drive guys and saw that they all swing back much, much faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that he took from them was, you know, you want to excite the muscles, and you do that by invigorating your whole body by swinging faster back, not slow back. In transition, I mean, that, you know, maybe that worked for ultimate control, but if the game is more about power and you want to swing and generate more club head speed, swinging back is a big part of that, and he got that just from the long drive guys.
I wonder too if this is something that, you know, let's say there is a tour player X, you know, whatever, top 50 in the world, they decide, all right, I'm going to take the Bryson route. Do they run the risk of kind of ruining what I mean, I'm assuming it's a situation where you have to tear it down before you build it back up. I mean, how far do you take it if you want to try to emulate, if you think you can do it, emulate what Bryson's done?
It's a huge risk, and that's why I took my cap off to him. Because, you know, he already had a fabulous career. He was making millions of dollars, and he was a top 30 player in the world. But, you know, now he's fifth in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fifth in the world because he became, in strokes gained off of the tee, he went from being 45th to first.
Wow.
Over the course of his career. And he was never going to be any better than, you know, 30th or so in strokes gained off at the tee. He needed 20 more yards to compete with Rory or Dustin. So, yeah, I think more and more players will take the risk because, Chris Como, I don't know that they're going to be cagey about how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Because anymore, everybody puts whatever it is that they're doing out on social media. And if you can go to these biomechanics classes that Chris Como and George Gankis and Lucas Wald are all teaching, and you can easily educate yourself enough to make these changes without the risks of the past, where teaching was based on subjective ideas that were just personal preferences and based on aesthetic ideologies, or preferences. And biomechanics is a whole different way to get at it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And again, I really truly thought it was a historic weekend. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, golf has these little benchmarks, and, you know, I think we're going to look back, you know, not too long from now and say, wow, that was a kind of a changing moment in the game. And you guys were in the center of it. You guys did a great job. I was wall-to-wall coverage, so
those are fun weeks for us live from, I love, the energy of it. It gets, in a 2-hour show, and inevitably it gets more impromptu, and that's where, that's where you get to have more fun, get off script some and just get after it.
It's funny. So during I watch golf all the time, obviously, and then during majors I watch it 3 times as much. So I constantly have live from on in the background, just always on. So last week my daughter comes in my bedroom and she comes in around right after school. Live from is on. She comes in later on around 6, 7 o'clock. It's on, and before she goes to bed at 9 o'clock, it's still on. She's like, "Dad, are you still watching this? Isn't this the same thing?" And I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss anything. You never know. So
Well, just like the players peak for the big championship, so too. I mean, they all spend weeks preparing.
Yeah.
It's going to be
front
and center, big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun to prepare. Actually, because she was working for the USGA last week.
Yeah.
So she was, in the weeks prior to it, they had all this information and all these calls. And every day I'd hear on her call, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that about Will Zalatoris. Or,
right.
It's like, oh, I didn't know that about Brandon Wu. So it was like, as she was preparing, she was helping me prepare. And, she'd come in and ask me questions. So it's, the fact that we're both so deep into golf, I say this all the time, I may know more about the minutia of the game, but in its totality around the globe when it comes to the women, you do, all of, where they're from, what they're doing, who their coaches are, what their family, all this. So if I have a question, I can just turn to her and say, well, what about this? And she can connect a lot of dots for me.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions. The fact that you guys are both so close to the golf industry and you both have had, great careers and different types of careers. How do you lean on each other when it comes to just what you're talking about, whether it be preparation for a tournament or some other project that you might be working on? I have to imagine that you each have different experiences that you can lean on one another, to get the result that you're looking for.
Well, when she was running the website and also writing and
golfchannel.com
doing morning drive, they would have to know every single story in golf.
Yeah.
Every single story.
And Brandel, he works weeks at a time in the studio. He works the week and then he's off for a few weeks. So maybe, in his off time, he's not glued to it 24/7. So
right. So, I know primarily what I'm going to have to cover. I know, what's in my wheelhouse, so to speak. But if I'm been off for 2 weeks and I'm going back to work, and again, I want to catch up as fast as I can, all I have to do is say, all right, catch me up, and ladies golf, European golf, even answer like the little stories, like
yeah.
If a
because all day, every day, we're posting everything. We're covering what people tweeted.
Absolutely, yeah.
Little tiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
Said,
right.
A side comment, but we created a blog about it.
Right. Everything. She's like, I don't know if you know this or not, but Brooks threw darts at your face last week. No, I didn't know.
I knew that. I'm
like, I didn't know that. Show me that. I'm like, oh, actually, that's pretty funny.
Well, and sometimes I forget that he doesn't know everything that I know. So sometimes after the fact, he'll do a show, and I'll be like, oh yeah, why didn't you bring up blah blah blah? And he's like,
tell a guy.
I didn't know that. I was like, you didn't hear that? You didn't see that? He's like, no. And I was like, oh, my bad.
I'm like, tell a guy.
I'm like, then why didn't you say that? To further support that point.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that happened. But for me, I think early on in my career at Golf Channel, I tried to, for good reason, sort of establish my own name and my own credibility. So I didn't lean on Brandel probably as much as I could have or should have. But then someone recently said to me, Laura Dern just won Best Supporting Actress, I believe, for Divorce Story within the last year or two. And someone said, I don't understand why people, and Laura Dern's family, her parents were deep in the industry and she grew up around them and could lean on them for advice and whatever. And someone said to me recently, I don't understand why people, if you have that resource there, why not lean on it? There's no disservice to who you are and what you've accomplished on your own. But you have resources, why not lean on them? So definitely before U.S. Open prep, I came in with, my notebook. Okay, I think this about this, what else? And, historically, obviously, I just can't possibly know what Brandel knows. And so I throw things out there.
Well, I got a few years on.
A couple. So, I'm, fully, I obviously have my own thoughts and opinions on things and, angles and stuff, but I go to him to sort of validate and see if I'm on the right track. And so
I'm like, 12 years ago, we switched from the interlocking to the Varden.
But you know what? That's smart and that's great because again, like you're sort of leaning on each other's strengths, and why, like you said, Bailey, why wouldn't you do that? It's like in anything else. It's like in business or in just real life relationships. Like if you can try to get additional information, exactly, you make it
Well,
work.
it's a hoot for me, because she has a background, a comprehensive background in the game, having played it and studied it. But she also does TV. So when I come home at night, there's always sort of we have a glass of wine. And she was like, "How was the show?" And I'm like, "Well, there's this. I could have done that better. And it's fun to, hash those things around. If she didn't know anything about it, I'd come home and, I probably wouldn't bring it up. But it is fun for her to go, "Well, I was watching that. You could have done this. You could have done that." I'm like, all right.
Or, yeah, I understand when I'm watching and I know that, if something didn't quite come off correctly or, video didn't pop up or something, like I know. And so when he comes home, I'm like, how'd that go?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it didn't go great.
But I've quit telling her if I'm going to say something on the air.
Yeah.
Because I just go, I'm thinking about saying this.
Try it out on me.
And in my mind, I'd come up with what I thought would be like a humorous, comment here or there. What do you think? She'd laugh, right? And so then I'd come home and I'd go, what do you think? She's like, well, actually, it's not that funny the second time around. I'm like, I'm not telling you anymore.
That's it. You're cut off. You're cut off.
Like, it wasn't that funny. He's like, you knew it was coming. And I was like,
You're out of the circle of trust. That's it. No more. No more.
You have to laugh as hard the second time. You're out.
Right. Exactly. It doesn't work that way around here. And again, like you guys both know, like, with the way social media works and like the instant gratification culture that we're in, if you say something, Brandel, I'm sure you know when you say something about a player, you hear about it right away. Bailey, same thing. It's that how much does that weigh on your analysis when you're going into things, or you just sort of putting it in the back of your mind, like, I know this is coming one way or the other. I'm just going to deal with it and move on from there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you say. Tirico said this to me the first year I was in TV, 2003. I was at ABC, and Tirico was working for ABC, and he said, look, if you do your job right, half the people should hate you, and half the people should love you. It's like, if everybody hates you, everybody loves you, you're probably not doing your job right.
Oh no, I thought everyone loved me.
As an analyst.
Well,
analyst. You're not.
I was saying Bailey's excluded from that.
You're not an analyst, and there's nothing to hate about you. But anyway, so I realize if it's funny, if I say something nice about Tiger, which I do a lot, I will get a whole Twitter feed full of "you're such a sycophant."
Yeah.
All you do is kiss his ass.
You changed your mind.
Right.
Like, oh, now you're
not
falling
even
back.
I mean, sometimes, but mostly it's just like, will you guys just stop kissing his ass? And if I say, look, which he did, I mean, it was the single worst driving week last year in the history of major championships statistically when he won the Masters. Right? So when people say, could he win the Masters again? I'm like, unlikely if he drives it like that, And you're such a hater. And, if you do your job right, you're going to get a lot of vitriol. But no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I feel like I've said this numerous times, but I've said that, Twitter to me is like a party at my house. And I don't care if people disagree with me at all. You can come in my house and disagree with me all night long, and that's usually going to be fun. But if you start breaking dishes, you got to go.
Right.
And so I block, if people are profane or over the top rude, I just block them. And I almost feel like I've blocked every profane or rude human being that could possibly exist in the golf world, because I honestly don't get a lot of vitriol anymore. Maybe I've just gotten soft in my old age. I don't know, but I don't get that much vitriol anymore.
Right, and most of the time, what I've done, is mostly just storytelling. So obviously, I'm not analyzing and don't really have the opportunity to say good or bad about. I mean, it's mostly just positive, right? I'm just telling the story of what happened or what they said or what they did, or what they shot, or so. I don't come into contact with that as much.
Right.
I do, however, I have been at events and I've had to interview players who I've got some beef with.
someone you know.
Like a Jason Duffner a few years ago or whatever. And I was, at the time I was still using my maiden name on air. So I was like, "Hi, I'm Bailey Mosier." Mosier.
Yep.
And Mosier, may I interview you? You have a moment.
Fine strategic move. Don't blame me at all for that.
But no, I mean, he's a big boy, so he fights his own battles. When I'm not there, even if I have to interview players who potentially have beef with him, I hope that they just know, I'm just being professional and I have a job to do.
Right.
I support him, of course, but it's also, those are his battles, those are his words, those are his thoughts. That doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm just trying to do my job.
Right.
So.
And chances are the people that truly have that, next level beef with either one or with the both of you, not worth your time anyway. So it's just, you kind of.
Well, that's it. I mean, how many people do you really care about their ideas?
Right.
Their opinions of you. Yeah.
Right. I mean, how many people do you really value? People who have your true best interest in mind. They're your closest friends and your family, and that's pretty much it. I mean, maybe the people you work for too. You don't want to upset them to some extent. So, other than that, you just try to be. I try to be as fair as I can be, and I try to tell the truth, and that's it, and have fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah, well,
he's never coming from a place of ill will. I mean, even when he's has a negative thing to say, it's not a personal vendetta. It's based in facts and information and what you've seen and studied.
Well, I have to imagine most well-balanced people understand that. I consider myself well-balanced, and I'm a big fan. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. This next question, or line of questioning, is really for the both of you. I mean, you guys have had both a pretty wide-ranging career, from playing to broadcasting and everything in between. Well, yeah, that too. What would you say are some of your best moments in the game of golf and some of your worst moments in the game of golf? Because we know golf has all of that in one round. So I would imagine in a career's worth, of work, there's a little of that as well.
A couple of my favorite moments in golf were not that widely known at all. I remember once being in Hawaii early on in my career. And I didn't have enough money to pay my hotel bill, which is not cheap in Hawaii.
No.
And, I had a putt on the last green about 15 feet, and I knew it was to make the cut and essentially have enough money to pay my hotel bill.
Wow.
And I remember, making that putt, and, it was, this isn't Ben Hogan finishing third. Because he was down to like $2, I think, when he did that. But it was along those lines for me, And another time I had a putt in Atlanta on the last green. They used to do, you had these categories. You were an A, B, or C player. A player if you've won in the last 2 years, B player if you're a consistent money winner, and C player if you were right out of Q school or you're a club professional. And until you made a certain amount of money, didn't matter if you've been playing the tour for 5 years, you didn't get to the B category. Now, the B category got first off tee times versus last off tee times. And last off tee times are when the weather's the worst, the greens are the worst, there's nobody out there, and they are, I would argue, it's a 2-shot hickey.
Really?
36 holes. Yeah, and I think I could look the data up, and I have, and it's not far off from that. It's certainly a hickey. And I had a putt in Atlanta in my second or third year on tour, and I knew if I made it, I would graduate from C player to B player, last off to first off. And I made it. And the very next week was Byron Nelson, and I was first off. And if as a C player, you get paired a lot with club professionals, local area. And, they're nice guys, but they're obviously out of their element.
Right.
And I played with a couple that shot in the 90s, and I played with a lot of them shooting the 80s. It's not a commentary on their game so much. It's just they're out of their element.
Yeah,
they work for a living. So all of a sudden, as a B player, you're paired with nothing but, really good players. And you're first off, there's no wind. The greens are, tabletop smooth. And I remember shooting 68, and I walked off the course, and I thought, I felt like I played like crap. And I thought, this is so much easier, first off. So those are two sort of moments in my career, little mini accomplishments in my career that I thought, they were stepping stones on the way to, playing whatever, 14, 15 years on tour.
competitively, I mean, I played in college at Old Dominion, and probably my shining moment, it was spring break tournament my senior year in Florida. Don't remember the golf course, but my mom was there to watch. And I had never, I don't know my low round in college prior to that, not very low. I was 1 under through 17 holes, which is insane for me. I mean, probably my low round prior to that.
Bailey, I'll take 1 under through 17 holes.
Right?
Literally every time I go out and play.
5 maybe competitive low before that. 1 under through 17. Standing in the 18th fairway, it was a par 5, and my coach came out and asked me what I wanted to do with my second shot, and I was like, I'll go for it. Bunkers everywhere all around the green, but I'm like, I got this in 2. Gonna go for it. Ended up making double, so still respectable, 1 over. But anyway, so 73. But I could have shot even or under. And then obviously professionally, you know, I did my alma mater. I went to graduate school at Arizona State University and got a master's of journalism. So they had asked me last year to come speak to their students in a Monday night forum. And when I was sitting there, they were reading off my bio, which, you know, I had sent some information, but I guess I don't remember sending them all that. They were reading all of the, not all the people, but, you know, a list of people I've interviewed and places I've traveled and tournaments I've covered. And I mean, it was it felt like a 5-minute. It wasn't, but he just kept going on and on about all these amazing things I had done. And I was like, wow, who is that person? I want to be them. And I was like, oh,
when do they speak?
Right. I was like, so I've had wonderful opportunities. I've traveled the world, covered, you know, the best in the game, the most beautiful places, interviewed, you know, as you know, lots of crossover between other sports, other athletes, musicians. They all love golf.
Yeah.
So we've done, you know, plenty of features on other, you know, non-golf stories. So, I mean, I've just had such a wonderful career thus far, and hopefully continue.
Oh, it's tremendous. Yeah, it's like, you know, golf can take you to some great places. You know, speaking of that, what are some of the courses that you guys haven't played that you would love to play? I'm sure you guys have traveled all over the world.
So we've been talking, we've never done Bandon. I've never done it at all.
Together, we've never done it. Yeah, so I'd really like to. I've been to Bandon many, many times, but I'm looking forward to taking her to Bandon. We had a tee time at North Berwick the Monday after the Open in 2015.
Yeah.
So we had North Berwick on Monday and Muirfield on Tuesday, and because the Open went into Monday, we missed out on North Berwick, but we did get to play Muirfield together, which is outside of St. Andrews. It's my favorite place.
Wow.
And so North Berwick is still on the list, and I would say, you know, obviously this is everybody's bucket list, but to play Augusta with her, she's a hell of a lot more fun to play golf with when I am. So the odds are, you know, we got to get you to meet an Augusta member.
The probability of getting invited. Oh yeah, that would come from me. Yeah. No, but Augusta, and I've never played Pine Valley, so
that's right.
That's on my list.
We've had invites to go play Pine Valley together. It just hasn't happened yet. So there's still plenty. But our very first date, kind of really, was in 2010 the U.S. Open was at Pebble, and my job going into that, leading up to it, was to go do the previews of every hole. So they closed the golf course down 2 weeks before the U.S. Open, and I was the only one that was going to be on the golf course that day. And so we had kind of just met. We were gone out a few times, and I knew she was a golf nut. And I said, look, you're welcome to come to Pebble. I have the whole course to myself.
I shut the course down for you. I mean, wow.
Yeah, right, totally. And I said, you know, you can come play Pebble with me. You know, we have it all to ourselves. It's like, and, you know, she was like, oh, don't you dare.
Right, I was like, hold up. Like, you can't throw that out there and not mean it. He's like, no, seriously, just come. We can play Pebble. I'm like, nobody just gets to go play Pebble.
Right. With nobody else there.
So we get there. I do the previews. She gets there, and you know, we go to the first tee. I mean, there's nobody out there. They told me I could play it. You know, it's part of the job. So, you know, the guy comes out and he goes, hey, I need to talk to you. So he goes in the shop. He goes, look, you can have the course. It's all yours. You can play all day long. But she's going to have to pay a green fee. I was like, okay, sure. And I was like, so it's like there's nobody else on the golf course. But I was like,
Right, you can play.
so I'm like, sure, I don't care. If the green fee was $5,000,
Right. I mean,
she's already flown up. It's, so I'm like,
you literally have no choice at that point. Like he could have said to you,
I can't back out here. It's the best $550.
I can imagine. I can
didn't
imagine.
know that until years later. I just
didn't tell
always
her.
thought that I played it for free and
Right, I didn't tell her.
myself.
But I was like, I couldn't get that credit card out quick enough.
I know, it's like, here you go. Hey, well, listen, Bailey, he shut the course down for you. I mean, nobody in the world, I don't think anybody, or very few people in the world have had the opportunity to do that.
Look where it got it.
See, exactly. See?
Men take note.
So everybody that's listening out there, shut down Pebble Beach. It's a game changer.
I mean, I'm not that dumb. I mean, I'm.
Well.
Right. Where do you go from
I knew how to follow through on that one.
Oh, that is
We had
perfect.
the best day. We and then that same trip. Well, no. Then 2 weeks later, we were at the U.S. Open, and we went and played at Cypress Point together. I mean, I've had a hell of a lot of fun in this world playing golf. I mean,
Yeah.
I've just had a blast. But I've had more fun playing golf with her. And I mean, I almost exclusively just play golf with her. I have two friends that I play golf with, but for the most part, it's pretty much just her and I every time we go out.
Yeah, I mean, what's better than that? I mean, you guys, it's not like you just have the time of your life every time you go. And again, you play some of the greatest places in the world. So,
And I'm a golf nut. Goes without saying, you'd think, but she loves golf more than I do.
I love to play. He's practiced, and obviously being professional, he has a certain level he needs to be at to enjoy. Because if he's not performing the way he knows he used to, or he knows he can, or he thinks he can,
Closer to
there's
the ladder.
an expectation that he doesn't always meet. So I just get excited. I mean, if I shoot 80, if I break 80, I'm the happiest person in the world. But if I shoot 82, 3, 4, I'm okay with that too.
On our honeymoon, we went to Lanai, and they got a hell of a course. What is it, Manelli Bay? Manelli Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Four Seasons Manelli Bay. So we were out there playing, and I think I just had a rinse set.
Yeah,
I didn't even take we just had a rinse set, and this driver was, it was the whippiest thing ever, and I had 2 out of play with it, and we were putting out, she was playing, we were having a nice time. So we get to the last hole, and she misses it to the right of the green. It's this great flop up there, about 10 feet. And I was like, wow, hell of a shot, And then she lips it out, and she comes back to the cart. And I'm like, good playing. And she was like, what did you say? You were like, you're damn right. She was like, if I'd have made that putt, I'd have beat you by 1. And I tied you. I was like, holy cow, you're keeping score?
It's like, honey, this is supposed to be fun.
I'm like, tell a guy.
I was beating him through, I think, 15, and then because I knew what was going on, I bogeyed 16, and I bogeyed 17, and then I hit, I had an 8 iron in at 18. I hit a great drive, 8 iron in, stupid shot in a bunker. Anyway, yeah. So I almost.
So she's getting good enough where she, she's shooting around every now and then. She'll shoot close to par. She shot 2 under. Front 9.
I beat him twice on 9 holes only. I've never beat him for 18, but 9 holes twice. I have beat him.
Brandel's like, wow. So Bailey, when you're sleeping, I hate to break it to you, Brandel's in the back. He's putting. Yeah. He's chipping. He's like he's on the Bryson routine. He's got some protein shakes in there.
Together, actually. There you go.
Yeah, there's something that tells me you're not going to eat your way to good golf.
Oh, is that part of it? Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it.
Yeah. I see you drawing the line.
Okay, never mind.
You can work on that lag.
Okay.
So Bailey, you're the fashion expert. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me how obviously we're in the t-shirt business, and I try to promote playing golf on t-shirts, make it more casual, fun, and the like.
I love your stuff.
Thank you so much. I really truly appreciate that. So how has Brandel's fashion sense, fashion style changed ever since you've come into his life?
So we've never had an explicit conversation about fashion or style, but I will say when we first met, he wore these shoes that were leather brown and they had like closed toes, but there were like gaps on top and they had a buckle strap on the back. I don't know what those are called. We wore them.
They were nice shoes.
I'm sure they were expensive. But he wore them the first several times we hung out, and I was in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can date a guy that wears those shoes. They just like, I don't know, they're just like oldie, and like I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I never said anything, but maybe after the 4th or 5th time we hung out, I never saw him again. I never said a word, but he never wore them again. And I don't know.
His spidey sense was she probably
I
has
think
those
so.
shoes.
I think so. And then now sometimes we will, like I wear a lot of dresses. Because it's easy, I just throw in one piece and go. And he always thinks that I'm like dressed up. And I'm like, no, this is casual for me. I'm just throwing this on because it's easy and flowy and whatever. So he's always like, well, even if we're just out running errands, he's like, well, now I have to go change. I have to look nice. You look nice. You look great. You just have jeans and a t-shirt. That's fine. I'm casual. So I think maybe the baseline definition of what's like casual. Maybe I've elevated that. But, people ask me all the time if I outfitted him for, when he's on TV and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely not. His spidey senses have been heightened and he has been on this beautiful trajectory. I cannot take credit for it. We do, collectively, he'll ask me what ties match and pocket squares, and we'll go through that, in advance of majors. Absolutely. That's fun for both of us. But no, I cannot take any credit.
Well, I don't know.
Explicitly.
Every now and then a picture will pop up of me pre-Bailey, and I'll look at it and I'm like, oof, man, what was I thinking? That is a bad jacket tie combo right there. But they'll pop up, and I'm like, golly, somebody should have said no.
But maybe fashion in general, right, has evolved. So you've been paying attention to fashion in general's evolution, and you've gotten better. And then also, it doesn't hurt that you have a wife who's 24 years old.
Doesn't hurt at all.
Well, hey,
honestly, before I buy anything, I go, yay or nay, and she's like, oh yeah, that looks great.
Well, see, again, it's another informed, smart decision. I mean, why wouldn't you take advantage of it?
I mean, all we do really is try to make them happy anyway. So it's like pretty much everything I do is to make her happy. So
that's what you should do. Smart man. Smart man. Smart man. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, you guys are seriously the best. This was such a blast. Got one more little thing. So we always do this little segment called Show and Tell. It's like when you're in grade school. Do you have any fun little objects, mementos, items laying around that you could show our adoring audience?
We won't show them all. Who's going first?
Go.
I think I'll share this one. So this is a trophy. We won a couples tournament. I don't know if you can read it. Probably not. Couples on the Hill, Fianna Hills Country Club in Arkansas, where I was born, Fort Smith, Arkansas. We played in 2016. We shot 62-60 to win by 1.
Wow, look at that.
And what's funny is it was a 2-day event. We were upset at each other on the morning of the second day. We were going into the second day like 1 or 2 behind maybe. And we shot scramble. We shot like 2 under on the front 9. 2 under scramble on the front 9. I was so annoyed at him because he was playing so bad. And I was so annoyed at him for being annoyed at me to begin the day because I didn't do anything wrong. I was so annoyed at him. And we ended up shooting 10 under.
Wow.
On the back 9 to win by 1.
So the internal anger on both of you just drove you forward.
We were both on fire on the back 9. Like I would hit first and hit it to like 10 feet, and he'd hit it to like 7 feet. And then I'd go, I'd hit it to 8, he'd hit it to 4. Like we were just like all over it. So anyway, they did not give us this trophy. We actually came home and we were just so excited that we won.
We weren't getting the trophy, nothing.
So we ordered
I was like, listen, if I'm going to go to play this couples event in Arkansas,
right?
And we grinded it out. I'm like, I want a trophy. It's like,
something. You get something out of it. Exactly.
I saw it at the merchandise show, and I was like, give me one of them.
Right. It's beautiful. We love it. So.
Oh, that's great. That is great.
So in college, they had a long driving contest, Southwest Conference long driving contest, and there was a guy on our team that would hit it as far as Tiger in his prime kind of thing, Dave was loved. His name was Paul Thomas. There was another guy who played for Houston by the name of John Slaughter, who was John Daly Long. And it was cold, and it was into the wind, and it was into the setting sun. And so none of us saw any of the drives, but you had to also hit it in the fairway. And so, they all hit, and they kept missing the fairway or whatever. But anyway, I won the long driving contest, okay? And this drive went 252 yards. So this would be like me beating Michael Jordan in a free throw contest or something. So I tease my buddy. Anytime someone makes a crack at me that I wasn't a long hitter, I'm like, hey, listen, all I know is I was the longest hitter in the Southwest Conference.
You have the hardware to prove it. No one's taking that away from you.
Then I went over right after the Masters in 1999. My best buddy, he's an absolute nut about golf. And he was like, you're taking golf way too seriously. You need to rekindle your relationship with this game, He's like, we're going to Ireland. We're just going to be, you and I, we're going to play these tournaments. Just you and I, we're going to play each other. We're going to have fun. We're going to drink on the course. We're going to drink before we get there. So it was a great time. We went over there for like a week. And one day we were playing Waterville. And we were playing from the tip. So it's 8,000 yards long. Wind's blowing. It's par 3's a driver. And we're on the tee. And this group in front of us waves us up. And I had a really nice shot with a driver, like 40 feet from the hole. And I get up there and, excuse my Irish accent, but we just have to bear with it. But I get up there and there's these 4 guys on the green. As I walk up, this one guy goes, "Are you Brandel Chamblee?" And I was like, and he's like, "Are you the guy that was leading the Masters last week or whatever?" I was like, "Well, actually, yes, I was." He was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I hit it inside you here," and my buddy got to laughing so hard, and the whole time we were there, we'd run into these guys or they would talk to their friends, and they never quit calling me Brad Chamblee. So anyway, at the end of that trip, my buddy went out and bought this trophy for me, and it says the 1999 South of Ireland Dormy 2-man Invitational runner-up, Brandel Chamblee. So I don't have many trophies prominently featured in my house, but this one sits front and center. My buddy's name is Jack Harden. He's great guy, lifelong friend, and loves golf like nobody I've ever met. So yeah, that was.
Well, you just you should take some great pride in the fact that you have an alter ego and a twin in Ireland named Bradley that just wowed the masses out there, and you have a trophy.
It's good memories.
Oh, that's great. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for doing this. I truly appreciate it. I know you guys have such a busy schedule, so it really means a lot to take take some time.
I echoed the sentiments earlier. We love your stuff. Love your T-shirts. Absolutely, I'm full supporter of T-shirts on the golf course with nice bottoms, cute skirt for girls, pants, shorts for guys. Absolutely, it's all about enjoying the game, being your truest expression of yourself, being welcoming, more inclusive. Absolutely. Yeah. Not at private clubs, maybe. Totally get that. But other than that,
As soon as you get in the parking lot, drive away, you can throw on a T-shirt, take your college shirt off.
My kids get a kick out of your T-shirts, the local legend.
Wear them all the time, yes.
It's good stuff. Yes. Really. You guys are having fun.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for what you do.
Well, guys, again, hopefully we can get on the golf course together once all this craziness is subsided. I'm telling you, let's do it. I am down. I have golf clubs and we'll travel. So let's make it happen. All right, guys. Thanks again. Good luck the rest of the year and the season. I'll be watching, of course, and everybody else will. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please check out swingjuice.com, the go-to place for golf and awesome T-shirts. Use promo code RAINSessions20 for 20% off. Swing Juice, wear your passion on your sleeve.